Hi, everybody, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. And as always, thanks, Eddie, for all of your help in setting this up and putting it together. Hope everybody is doing well. Today, we have a special guest with Dayne. We're going to be talking about goal setting, and I'm really excited. So, I need to figure this out. You see my high tech here, Eddie. Hold on. For all of your help.
Got a little bit of an echo there, huh?
Yeah, but I'm trying. That's how, this is how well, I am with this whole thing here. So I think I got it now. But anyways, but before we bring Dayne in, just have a couple of things that we're gonna do. And the first one is that we have the giveaway last week. A bunch of people sent photos with their paddles, and we have the Prince bag that we're giving away. And I have all the names here in a little box. So I'm just gonna grab one, and good luck to everybody. And here we go. Are you ready? Joseph Dutton. Joseph Dutton, and it's Dutton. Congratulations, Joseph. And I'll be reaching out to you and getting your shipping address and everything. So thank you so much, everybody, for participating. And again, there's always next time. And then we have one more thing that we had a few people that had asked us about our academy stuff. And evidently we're not teaching at the moment. Everything is closed here. So we actually have had some time to work on the website. So my husband Chad has done that. And I think Eddie will share, we have a bunch of gear, apparel for sale, as well as, of course, Prince paddles, and I think shoes as well. So anyways, so if you want to support what we do, support our business, there's the website for you. So, and again, with great pleasure, let's welcome Dayne. Where's Dayne?
Simone, how are you?
I am good. As you can see, I have my 10-year-old here. How old is yours? You have a daughter.
Yeah, I have an 11-year-old, 11-year-old going
Oh,
on 23. Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go. And how is that going? How is that? Are you homeschooling?
Yeah, she's doing the online schooling, and she's a gymnast too, so she's got her online conditioning, and it's nonstop, but it's frustrating too, right? As at that age, they just want to go, go, go.
I know. Trust me, yeah. But it is what it is. We got to deal with it. But
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
hopefully soon. I mean, our kids are not going back to school. They are being homeschooled for the rest of the year. Is that the same for you guys?
Yeah, she's in for the whole year, and I don't know. I'm even questioning the fall. I don't see where we go, right? Where we go without a vaccine, but we
Yeah.
have to adjust,
Yeah.
right?
For sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, honestly, if anything, I was like, what is this teaching you? I tell you that patience.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
number one thing that I'm learning, patience, because sometimes to get them to sit down and just focus on the work is so hard. And it
right.
takes up the whole morning. And then
Yeah,
when you see, okay, it's already 1 o'clock, what have I done today? So that's been, I think, one of, the adjustments, but, we
yeah.
figure it out. So.
You got to figure it out, and
But
it's also it's a great opportunity too. Like we're going to talk about today, to focus on how to create goals, right? How to time manage, right, and create that. I mean, we can look at this, right? We've been saying this for the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, right? We can look at this only one of two ways, really. Like, woe is me, right? This is frustrating. I can't do what I want to do. Or we can look for different and new kind of opportunities, right? And hopefully, you and I are going to touch on some of those today about, like, what do we do? How do we create the goals when we don't have our group and our rec and a court and a ball? You know what I mean? And it's just another
absolutely.
opportunity to adjust.
Yeah, and I think for everybody out there who, I think the main goal, I wanted to make sure that people understand this, is for us, what we do for a living is our goal is to motivate people to do what they can. It's just whatever it is that you have to work with to figure it out a way. I think that's what we are best at. Just us as people is figuring it out with the cards that we're dealt. And instead of, it's an easy route to just kind of sit back and be like, oh, I can't do anything, and I'm gonna sit on the couch and eat and watch TV, and that would be the easy
Right.
route. But I think that what we want is motivate people to better themselves even during this time. So
Right.
let's get started. So let's get down to the business here. So
Yeah.
first of all, what do you think? What's the purpose of goal setting, and what's the most important thing about goal setting? I know it's broad questions, but I'm gonna open up to
Yeah.
you here.
Yeah, it's such an important topic, right, in a conversation to have, but it's also challenging because it's such a large umbrella. When we figure out goals to set, it keeps us locked, right, and it helps us stay driven within the process that we're trying to achieve, right, and even before we set our micro daily or weekly goals, I think it's really important to kind of step out of our comfort and look in a bigger, like in a more macro picture, and start creating like longer term visions, especially in the time we have now, right? Because if we only say today, tomorrow, and on through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, it's kind of like getting into a car without GPS, right? So I think a lot of people miss the importance of creating a long-term vision, right, of who they're trying to become, and that place they're trying to go towards before they even back up to today and set those daily, actionable, attainable goals,
Good. Yeah, and that's something that we talked about, attainable, because at the moment you got to be realistic, and kind of set goals that you can achieve. And of course, like, you want to maybe stretch it a little bit and have some hefty goals, and a little bit more challenging. But at the same time, I feel like it's so important that like we talk about, and we'll talk about like the short term, longer term, but having things that you can look forward to,
Right.
I think it's just to keep you motivated. So that
Yeah.
ultimately it is our goal for whoever is out there, maybe needing a little bit of a push. That's kind of
Yeah.
where we're
Yeah.
at. So
It's
and
I think it's, oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
I think it's a fine dance, right, between the attainable, realistic goal and those stretch. Let's push ourselves out of comfort, but it's a delicate dance between stretching comfort, right, and getting ourselves out of what we feel good about and what's easy, versus physics defying. I'm a 4-0, and in 6 months I'm going to go beat Simone at US Open. Right? Like, so we need both. We need that stretch goal, that thing to get us out of comfort, but then also to back up and then have those confidence driving goals. Like, today I accomplished X, right? This week I accomplished X, but it's always aimed at something outside of our comfort, right? And I think we need both.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I mean, I like always. I think I talked to you a little bit about how I've had players who would be like comfortable, set goals that were very comfortable, that they felt like, okay, I can definitely get these. And sometimes, that's a little easier route. And the tendency is that they're pretty content most of the time, because they're happy, they're achieving their goals, but they're not really truly pushing themselves. But then also, I think the other extreme is where you just set yourself unrealistic goals, and again, you don't set anything that it's just, everything is just like super unrealistic, that is going to be extremely hard for you to achieve. And then I tend to find out that those players, those athletes, they tend to be very frustrated, and oftentimes they tend to actually freeze during competition because they put
Right.
so much pressure on themselves to perform that they forget why they're there competing in the first place. Where I just feel like I've always been a big fan of a mixture of, I want to have my realistic goals, and then I also want to have my, kind of like, okay, this would be a dream. If this happened, that would be great. It would make my year. So that's kind of where when I talk about, I visualize I'm a list maker. So if I put things together, I write this down. Okay, this is what I know I can do. This is how I'm going to do it. And
Right.
then these are, okay, if I really, really, really want to get this really kind of like way, way far away there, this goal that is going to be really hard, I'm going to have to put in this kind of work to get there. So can you give us some examples of, some of like something for you, for instance,
Yeah.
or so what are
Yeah.
some of the things that you can touch upon so people have an
So
idea?
for me, I have a really big stretch goal, and it's the way I work. I really enjoy the challenge of that. So I'll have a big stretch goal for at the end of my pickleball career, right? In the senior tour, I just stepped up into the seniors, and Ben's very thankful I did that. That would have been trouble for him if I would have stayed. so,
I like
so
that.
so I have my huge stretch goal that I don't share with anybody except really close people, because it's something that, and I don't want to, offend anybody, because it has to do with certain people on tour that I kind of got to go through, right? So when it's all said and
Yep.
done, I want to have achieved this. But the
Yep.
big point with that the point with that is it's okay if I don't achieve it. It's not actually about achieving that huge thing that I set out. It's about like the process and the how I'm going to become and how I'm going to work on the way to that. So I know that if I stretch it huge and I don't attach a results pressure or expectation, I just know like this is what's going to drive me to do what I don't want to do and I don't feel like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to train yourself to set that stretch, but not be connected to the outcome, right? Because it's not about that. Then what I will share, I have a yearly goal, right? Well, I had a yearly goal. I mean, my first year was gonna be a good year. I wanted to be the best senior player on tour. And I can say that, right? And I know, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 people that, might take offense to that, but that's real. It's all fun competition. But that was my yearly goal. And I set that
Mm-hmm.
as a driver to then take me back to today. So if those are my goals, what do I have to do today? Right. And so when I'm on the ball machine or I'm drilling or even playing rec, I now have something really specific that's driving me through all of that work, rather than just saying, I want to get better. I want to improve my third. I want to improve my rating. Like I want to have something really tangible that's driving me and making those training and practice sessions that much more intense. So it is a fine line between insanity and reality, right? But I do think, because if we, off camera, if you and I were to talk honestly, you have some huge goals too, right? As does Ben. Like all the elite have these ginormous goals that a lot of people might even say you're crazy for having those. So how do you balance that out, Simone? Because I don't even think it's arguable, the GOAT, right? And men or women, I don't care, man, woman, child, it doesn't, horse, dog, it doesn't matter. How do you balance that out?
I think it's, I mean, I think we all, in a way, a little bit crazy. And I know I'm a little bit crazy in the sense that, well, I just feel like you can't, I was telling you and Eddie just a little bit earlier how sore I am because I hadn't been able to work out too much. And then, finally I feel a little bit better. And then I go out and I go nuts, and I push my body to a limit. And now I can barely walk, it's just like, how insane am I to think that I'm ready to endure this workout? Well, I'm like, okay, well, I just gotta do it because this is my goal. I want to get fitter. This is a top priority of mine. I want to come out of this better than when I, um, stopped teaching. So I want to make sure that I am ready to compete as soon as we're good to go. And I'm gonna do everything in my power, everything that I can control to do that. And that is gonna mean that I'm going to be sore like this, probably for the next 2 days until I do arm day tomorrow, and then my arms are gonna be sore. So I'm just, I guess this is the part where mentally talk about being mentally strong. I think this is where you can only, in my opinion, you can only figure how strong you are when you push yourself through those times, and it can be anything. I mean, you have challenges every day in life, and either you push through it and you go through it, or you just decide, okay, this is too much, and I quit. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where
Yeah.
my mentally, I just feel like, throw anything at me and I'm ready to go.
See, now that's huge, because the average 4-0 player looks at Simone and says, "Man, she's just talented, right? She's so gifted. It's just so easy, and
Yeah.
she comes out and she just keeps winning and winning. Why can't they don't see the grind and the pain? Like you said, you can't walk, and tomorrow, it's going to be a couple. So what drives you to not only set those goals, but like, how do you balance between like setting those goals that most would say are unrealistic, and then driving you through that pain to get there?
I mean, you work enough with, you are an athlete, and you know how I think when you set your mind to do something, um, you you will do whatever it takes, that you can control to do. And that's what I feel like I'm okay with my craziness, with my insanity, because of the fact that I live by it. I'm okay. I I would rather be sore like this than, by the end of this, come out of the end of this and then be extremely out of shape and perform terribly. I mean, this has happened to me. I told you, where I felt last year when I was teaching a ton. We were busy during the summer, and I went into a tournament, and I felt like I was not prepared. And I honestly, I was so upset with myself because, I came out of it. I was like, I was insane. I was like, what can I do? And again, what did I do wrong, first of all? And what do I need to do to fix? And I was like, okay, I need to dedicate the time, and I got to figure this out. And I think that's where a lot of the times, because everybody has a challenge, everybody goes through something at some point. And you're us as human beings, we are amazing how powerful we can be because it's here. And if we can find a way to fight through those little battles day in and day out, we just come out so much stronger. And I have a strong belief in myself. And
Yeah.
and probably it comes from it's definitely something that is you talk about nature and nurture all the time, that battle, and I do believe it's something that forms early on, and you nourish through time. But I think that there are a lot of athletes. I've coached a lot of athletes, and my biggest thing was that you have to believe in yourself. Nobody else can believe in you but yourself, and
Right.
creating that environment, for yourself, no matter what the situation is.
Right.
That's
And
how
then
I
and then
think you can be successful.
and
Go
then
ahead.
framing it for them, right? Putting them in a frame, a goal setting frame, right? So it's not just that we're just working hard. And I hope something
Yep.
good happens with that, right? Like this is my X vision / goal. And then we back up to today. Now, what do I have to do? And it's such a challenging topic because everybody has individual motivations and triggers and past experiences and future goals. And, there's no one stock program that fits all, except for you do need to create some type of framework that gets you up and gets you out into that training environment when it's too hot, when it's too cold, when you don't feel like it, right? And so that's half the battle, is finding that driver that is going to help you go execute on those goals. Because just setting goals, that's not enough, right? What's it leading towards us, and what's that thing pulling on us when we're just too tired, too sore? Like, you don't have to go work out, you can barely walk, but you're probably going to, right? Because you have a driver that's bigger than that little pain, that pain in your legs. And I think goal setting alone isn't enough, right? And what type of goals? Process goals, results goals. Yes, both. Like you and I talked about offline, you are very like results driven, which I think all elite athletes are. But what you do better than the average 4-0 player is you manage your hunger and drive for those results with the fear and the doubt and the anxiety of, I hope I don't miss, right? Because I think if we're entering a tournament, we all want to win the tournament, or we all want to perform well. Yep. We want to win, right? But what the average amateur pickleball player does is they put a priority on the negative, what I don't want, what I hope doesn't happen. I hope, what you do is you put the priority on the controllable intentions that will get you to the result that's driving you, right?
No, absolutely. And, and again, I think we can relate this to a lot of the pickleball players out there, is that, and I think, our goal here is that anybody that is out there that can sit down and, if you're not a writer, if you're like, but I do recommend people putting stuff on paper, something that you can look at and just kind of set those goals, and then how are you going to achieve them? And I think, Eddie, I think we have something that, just a little template that people can look at, because again, sorry, there you go, perfect. Yeah, so you want to talk a little bit about that to guide people through it? So as we have the goal sheet on the screen.
Yeah, so I think it's like, I 100% agree with you that journaling and really keeping track of our data, right, our work, and our starts with that outcome goal. Like, before I even get to the Monday through Sunday piece of what I have to do, like what am I aimed at, right? Like, not just I want to win nationals, but what's that person? I try to go even further. Like, what's that swag look like? What's that confidence look like, right? How do you walk? How do you talk? And I put this all on the outcome goal piece, not just I want to win nationals. I also have, like, I want to talk like this and walk like this. I want my peers to talk about me like this. I want them to walk on the court and see me and think this. I think that's a really big piece of that long-term outcome goal. And the more detail we can place on that outcome result goal, the better our day-to-day performance, our day-to-day action goals will, the clearer they will be, right? And then we come down to, I love the performance and process goals. Like, how in your journey right now, what would you put on those performance under your performance goals, right? That I think a lot of the
Sorry, go ahead.
I think a lot of the 4-0 players can relate to a Simone best in the world. Now, wow, I have very similar performance goals. What if you were to list a couple for yourself? What would those be under performance?
Oh, so for me, like, there are certain things that I haven't achieved yet. Usually I go for something that is different, because it's more, in a way, a little bit more challenging. But TOC in the past has been not a great tournament for me, and something to just play better there and, win, of course, ultimately is what I want. But I think when I talk about that as my number one, for example, if I was to put that, perform better at TOC, win a TOC. It would be my process is that I prepare better during the summer, and preparing because where it falls. So it's usually right like at the end of the summer, and that's where I think there's a lot of things that go into it, but to be more focused for me is that I prepare better leading up to it. So that way I am, paying attention to my training and, how well am I prepared for this tournament when the time comes. I tend to be much more prepared for nationals because of the fact that it falls in November and I'm back into my routine. So usually for me is when if I was to say a number two, how my performance for nationals, I think is just when I talk about the process for it is making sure that I'm taking care of my body because nationals is a very long week, and I think that a lot of people, any level people step into that tournament not they're so excited to play a nationals and they want to do well, but understanding that there is a preparation to compete that many days and to be there. It's exhausting just mentally to be there, but just think about physically. So being prepared, you know again, eating well, sleeping well. So that all would be like my process. What am I going to do to achieve that goal? And then again, usually like at the end of like my number three, when it comes down to it, it's like, I want to be very successful this year. And what do I need to do to achieve those? My process is making sure, again, I'm not 25 anymore. So I got to make sure that I take care of my body. Like I said, one of the things that I'm doing more is working out more, which I had not done that in a long time. I'm not a huge fan, but I realize that my body needs it. And just mentally to know that I'm prepared, it helps. So from a little bit more of muscle toning, fitness level improvement. Because drilling, I love drilling. I've always have, so that's not an issue. But the things that I'm not necessarily not good at, just that I don't like it. But it's making
Right.
myself do those things.
Right. And I think it's really important to differentiate too that the outcome goal, right? That results thing. It's okay to have a goal of I want to win nationals or I want a podium at US Open, whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as we just use that as a driver or a carrot and not have that as a conscious focus while we're playing. Right? And I think that's
Yep.
what differentiates and separates players like you from an average 3-0 player that the goal of winning, right, that tournament or trying to put like that puts extra stress on them because they prioritize that versus
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing what you said about the process goals. It's really important to understand those process goals are your controllables, right? You're in total control
Yep.
of when you wake up, what you eat, how many hours you spend on the court. You're just not in control of did you win that tournament, and accepting that all you can do is create that long-term outcome goal, be emotionally connected to it, but then go all in on the day-to-day controllables that you have, right? And everybody's
Yep.
processes are different, right? Some need to drill more, some need to play more, some need to strengthen more, but we got to create something for us. And writing those down is absolutely critical for formulating and keeping track of the data, right? Because you can see the improvement when you write it down, especially on the mental side. I used to think like this. Now I'm writing, the last 3 months, I don't think that way anymore. You know how I know? Because I've written that stuff down. I've taken notes after I played or after I drilled, right? So whether it's physical or mental, super important to keep track of that data just to see where you are, and it'll help grow confidence. Because if you're working, you're going to get
Yep.
better, and if you get better, you're going to grow that confidence, right?
Yeah, and I believe that that's for working with a lot of different levels. A lot of the times, one thing that we talk about is people will take lessons and they'll be like, okay, what are we working on? What's the goal? What's the purpose? And I think that can be related to the day to day, even right now, like, what's your goal today? What's your purpose? What are you trying to do today to make you better for tomorrow? And I think confidence wise is huge, because if I say, okay, today there's so much technology today that you can, okay, I want to keep track of, today I'm going to run a mile, or walk and jog. Start with something that you okay, feel pretty comfortable doing. But I think that that's like, if your goal is to get in shape, then that's a way, talking about the process of it. Okay, let's start today. We're going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to do that, and set up a plan. And I think that's what you're talking about, writing it down, so that way you can actually see, okay, I got this accomplished today, and then tomorrow, and so on and so forth. And I think that's such a confidence builder. You just, like, after 2 weeks, you're like, wow, like, this is so much easier than day one. It's just, sometimes it's getting through that,
Right.
the first few days. So
Especially in the uncertain times that we're in, right? I almost would emphasize what you just said in these times, right? Getting up and making a to-do plan / goal / confidence builder today, to make sure that we don't fall into that slump of, because we don't know when we're coming back, right? This whole year could be gone, or we could be back in a couple months. But we don't have any control over that. And I think that drives a lot of people into depression's too strong of a word, although I've felt a little sad here and there, but it doesn't, there's no motivating force. There's no motivating force to get out and grind, right? So I think if we put an emphasis on just dedicating every day to do something, right? It doesn't have to be 4 hours of training like you do or Ben, but it's just got to be something, because just taking that action alone is a confidence builder. Then the results that you get from it, regardless of how small or big it is, will just keep compounding that confidence. And then when the tournament time is here, we're more ready, right? We're more apt to be ready, right? And I still think it's important to, have in your mind, June tournaments are here, right? Keep that on your schedule. Just prepare. June is coming, right? They haven't canceled it. Yep. It's coming, and prepare that way, but accept the fact that it might not, so that if it does get canceled, it's okay. Because on Monday, Tuesday through Sunday, I'm still going to grind and do the things that I have on my sheet, and I'm going to just check those babies off every day, right? So that when tournament time does come, I'm going to have an advantage over the opponents that sat and complained about not being able to be on court.
Yep. But, and again, I think that's a perfect example. Right now, we don't know tomorrow, but I know what I can do today, and and take one day at a time. It's definitely trying times, is difficult, and I think that for me, the biggest thing has been staying physical. It has helped me mentally, because I am so active, and my entire family is, but before this whole thing started, we had a list of, I don't know, 10 things to do around the house, and we're almost done with them. So I'm like, what's next now? So we got to find something else to do. But I just think, and again, everybody is different. Everybody is got, we're all, our DNA is all different. But at the same time, we all are driven by something, and I think goal setting is effective in anything that you do. It can be for businesses. If they didn't have goals, they just wouldn't be successful. So I just think it's extremely important to all the time, but especially now, to have something to look forward to. But Eddie, I don't know if we want to open up to some questions. Anybody has anything they want to ask Dayne? That would be a great time right now. And Dayne, any point, anything that you want to ask our audience out there? Just kind of maybe we're challenging them to accomplish something. That would be, I think that would be good.
You said challenge. You just got me. You just gave goosebumps when I get to challenge people. So my challenge is to have the viewers write down something that they want to achieve within the end of halfway through next month. Let's just give them 3.5 weeks, right? And
Mhm.
pickleball related, right? Where it's the challenge is making that goal scary-ish, right? Not crazy, not physical. Like, I'm going to go take out Simone in singles next, at the end of mid-May, but something that you need to improve, but it feels a little scary, right? It's big, but it's not astronomical, right? And just to train yourself to get out of the comfort of easy, right? Just train
Yep.
yourself. That's something that's frightening, and not worry about even if it gets achieved, and then make a plan, a day-to-day plan, a week-to-week plan on how you're going to go about to try to achieve that. Because
Yep.
the realist, the attainable goal is going to be the day-to-day stuff that your controllables, right? And if you do all of those things, the percentages are gonna be in your favor, that in 3 or 4 weeks that you will have achieved that scary little thing that you wrote down. So write it down, see it happening, and then back up and challenge yourself to get up every day and work towards it. Make it scary.
I like it. I like it. So
What are your
somebody,
personal, before we, I don't know if you like to share, I don't know if you like to give your secrets away. Do you have a year
oh
end,
no.
like at the end of this year, this is going to be, hey, Ben, stay on your freaking side. My backhand's good. Let me hit some backhand dinks. Just kidding.
I'm fine. I'm fine with that. It's being one of the things is being ready for when he doesn't take the ball and then I take the ball. So that's working
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, honestly, like, gosh, I have so many goals and personal goals and just for myself and little things like so I'll share one that I am one person that I'm not I don't really take care of myself,
Mm.
and that has been something that I decided that was going to be a goal for me, that I'm going to take better care of myself. I A friend of mine sent me some stuff for my skin because I'm in the sun all the time, and I'm like, this is the perfect time for me to take care of my skin because I'm getting sunspots everywhere, and it's horrible. But I'm just like, whatever, who cares, right? And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is it. I'm not in the sun. I can do this right now is the time. And so I've been doing that, and I love, just seeing like the little results is just like that is something that, okay, I'm gonna continue on doing this. Um, so that's like one little personal goal that I had for me, and I'm still working on it every day. And then of course, I am maintaining my weight, if not losing a few pounds. That's kind of like where I'm at with that. So, taking care of my eating and whatever I can to make sure that I'm not just eating to eat. Making sure that I'm doing the things that I can to achieve that goal. Like I said, in order for me to be in the best shape, I got to make sure that I feel light on the court, feel light on my feet, and I think it will help me prevent injuries as well. So and then as far as my goals for performance, I wanna win everything. I mean, that's I wouldn't I would not ever just go out without thinking that I can win. I tend to like when I lose, I tend to hurt really badly when I win. I'm sorry, when I lose, but I also get really excited when I win. So that has been for me. It's I wear it on my sleeve, but it's
Yeah.
I like I said, it's yeah, it's a stretch and a stretch. I have never done it. It will continue to be my stretch goal. And I'm okay. I'll continue to work for it, even if it never happens.
What do you say to that player, right? That says, Simone, I have big goals, right? But I'm just afraid of putting them down on paper, right? I'm afraid of putting them in my laptop on my, on my phones. I'm just afraid to announce them or write them. You don't even have to announce them to the world, but just I'm afraid to put them down because what if I don't achieve? Like, I think that's the number one setback for most people getting out of that normal comfort. They're afraid to put something down that's semi-big in fear of not achieving it. What do you say? What do you say to that player? What do you say to those players? There's so many that say, yes, that's me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of the times I've coached players like that because fear of losing is definitely something that it's not normal, but it happens to a lot of people. And I know that I've had athletes who care. They really truly care about it. Sorry, Landon. They truly care about competing and winning, and it's not something bad. But I my thing that has always been is that put yourself out there and you'll surprise yourself how much stronger you come out at the end of it. Because again, to me, putting yourself out there, meaning like, I'm going to do everything I can, I'm going to try my best. And if I don't succeed, that it's going to hurt. And it's okay. It's going to hurt for a little bit. But after a while, you'll get better and you'll be better for it than not fully committing, kind of just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try a little bit. But then when they lose, it's like, oh, okay, I just tried a little bit, so it's okay because I lost. But when they win, it doesn't mean that much. It's like, oh, it's almost like they're surprised. They're like, wow, I won and I barely tried. But it's just kind of, to me, in my opinion, it's like, it's like that gamble sometimes. Put your chips in, and either you going. And again, to me, is like I'm gonna go all in, and whatever the outcome is that I know that I'm gonna be okay. So you got to make that choice that if you're gonna have to hold yourself accountable, and if you lose, because we all do, we will, eventually we will lose, and when you do, it's just, yeah, it hurts because it's like I put in the time, I did all of these things, I put myself through all of these pain and this headache, but guess what? Like you can sleep at night, you can look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I am okay with myself because I did everything that I could to achieve, the goals. And sometimes it doesn't happen, but you move on and you get better from it.
And I think what you said that's so awesome is that it's okay if you lose. It's okay if you and it doesn't feel good, but it's okay that you lost if you prepared and went through all those goals that you committed to, knowing, but see, it's okay to you because you prioritize the grind after you lose, right? And elite athletes, champions, always say it. It hurts more to lose than it feels good to win. And you turn the losing fuel into a fire to get up the next day and grind harder. Where, I don't want to say most, but too many people take the loss and it couches them, right? And then it does the reverse. Well, I'm not going to set that goal because I lost. I can't win every time, right? And so it really does come down to the mental shift you make, knowing you don't have any control whether you win or lose anyways. You have control over how hard you work, and then you have control over the response if you happen to lose. But that's what separates you and Ben and all the top players, Kyle and everybody down the list, right? Is to prepare. The one thing I love so much about Riley and why he's gotten good so fast is he treats rec like he's playing gold medal national. That dude is like, he's so serious in a good way when he's playing rec. There's no mess around. And I think that is probably one of the biggest advantages he has over some of the other some players trying to, on their come up too, that aren't having, that aren't improving as fast, right? How you prepare and the intensity you bring is just as important in rec as it is at, in the gold medal at nationals, right?
Yeah, and that's what you addressed it right there, because that was my biggest thing. You can ask any athlete of mine that I always wanted them to address practice as if it was competition, because you cannot expect to practice one way and play another. Oh, it's just practice. Oh, that was like, oh, pet peeve. Because again, unless you compete like at practice, the way you're gonna compete in a match, because it's hard to put them. It's hard to enact that pressure and that stage in practice, but you can get pretty close to it. Mentality, and I unfortunately I've played like a couple years ago rec with Riley and Lindsay, but like I love practicing when I love practice with them, but that's is my thing, is like when it's time to practice, it's time to, because and for me, and I feel like maybe that's his thing too, is like time management. If that's the time that you get to practice, then you want to take that seriously, because maybe, some of us may not have all the time in the world to go, sometimes other priorities as I get a sneeze in my back. But you gotta make sure that your time, oh, and then you put it on my face, and then the time is spent. Okay, I'm gonna be able to practice for 2 hours, then those 2 hours is everything I got, because that's it. So
Yeah. And that's an awesome, like, that's another piece that we want to write down right now for anybody taking notes. That can be a goal. Create, a goal of every practice session, whether I'm on the wall by myself, whether I'm jogging by myself or ball machine or one-on-one or rec, like, I'm going to increase my intensity during the training sessions. That's a phenomenal goal to have, right? And tries the level of focus and intensity, with the goal, the bigger goal being, when tournament time does come, I will have already felt a level of intensity close to that, right? And that's an awesome goal that we can all use. And I think that's the secret from the athletes that perform at a high level on a consistent basis versus the ones that just show up once in a while, is the intensity they bring to their training sessions, and not just with the paddle and the ball in the weight room when they're running.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, consistency, yeah, for sure. So, and again, there's, you can't take a break, because again, and for me, personally, I always feel like I'm not watching what anybody else is doing, because I think that's the part of winning and losing. You can't control what other people do. You can only control what you do. So, yes, sir. Yes, that's Dayne. You want to say hi to Dayne? Yeah, you just wave.
What?
You just go, you wave. He can hear you. He's got my AirPod.
Oh, he can hear
Kids
me.
nowadays,
Awesome.
they know technology. I mean, they know
Yeah.
technology better than I do, probably. But
Totally.
anyways, I think that's one of the biggest thing, is making sure that each person individually, you control what you can, which is what you do, and not what others do. Not thinking like, I mean, if I play a rec game with Riley, I probably would have so much fun, because again, it's like, if he's intense, that's kind of, I again, like, I love that environment, and that's where I think people can choose to be in that environment. Or if you want to play, loosey goosey, whatever, then it's like, okay, well, that's not for me. I want to be in a competitive setting. And I've actually, funny that you mentioned that, but I've had people ask me about that. I where like, oh, what do you do when, people are not taking it seriously? It's like, well, you can't tell somebody what to do. I'm, not gonna tell them, like, it's not this one. I can tell this one what to do. But
Yeah.
right?
No,
So
it's hard, right? It's hard to, but you have control over, are those the people you want to play with regularly? Are those the people you want to train with? And it, it does come down to, again, it's so individual, right? Those people don't have the same kind of driver that you have, and that's okay. It's not wrong, but we have a choice to
exactly.
play with them on a regular, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's I think that I'm not one that is going to judge anybody. Everybody has their own situation that they're in. Yeah, Baba. Everybody has their own situation. So pickleball might be a way to relax, and the last thing that they want is to play with somebody crazy out there, competitive and
Right.
going 100 miles per hour, 100% on everything. But
Right.
again, that's everybody's different, and you respect what they but again, I think um everybody has their own goals of what they want to
Yeah.
achieve. So no,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's important, regardless of what level you're at, to we're out there playing. We want to have fun. A lot of us want to have fun, but we also want to get better, right? It doesn't have to be Simone better, but we all are out there trying to improve. And so it doesn't have to be a 7-day-a-week crazy elite athlete schedule that you're writing and journaling for goals, but you should have something, right? Something that keeps you in the framework, so you're not dodging right and left all the time. Like you're staying on some type of intentional path. And don't you think that word too, I use ad nauseum, right? Like intentional goals, intentional processes,
Yeah.
intentional visions, right? Something that's very applicable on court too, right? When we have to adjust our plan or something's not working, right? What are our intentions, right? Because most amateur players, their intention is not to miss, right? I hope I don't miss. Like that literally is so many players' focus versus the intention of who to hit to, why to hit there, what pattern, right? Taking control again of our own controllable.
Yeah, sorry, I had a smirk on my face because Eddie, can you pull the comment out again? I just read it while you're talking, Dayne. Somebody made a comment. I saw, I think, a Texas A&M logo. What was it? Gosh, what did he say?
Yeah,
It was
there it is.
Janelle Clark saying, "Intense is being able to
Oh,
focus
shoot.
on this interview while your kid is all over you. Great job."
Yeah.
Yep, everyday life. See, when
Yeah.
people are like, how do you focus on playing when you're like when people are watching and chanting your name? I was like, I have training at home. You guys didn't know. See?
That's right. All day. All day. Send him an invoice.
Yep. Exactly. No,
I
seriously.
love it.
He's gonna invoice me because he's training me to be able to focus on something while he is all over me.
That's right.
That there's no space, whatever. What is it called? Yeah, his space awareness with his kids. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You get to train how to block out all the distractions on you don't even need a paddle and a ball. So this is your secret. You just gave away your secret.
Exactly. Get a kid who cannot leave you, like without touching every part of your face, your body, like all the time. So
I know.
that's it.
I know.
But
It's awesome.
But yeah, so by the way, Janelle, love that. That's pretty funny. But yeah, that's reality right there. But Eddie, we'll go to you. Is there anything out there that we've missed? That anybody has asked any questions or anything?
I mean, there's been a ton of great feedback coming through this entire session here. A lot of the questions that have been asked, you guys answered, but there was one that I thought was very interesting because it's very specific. And this comes from
Okay.
Daniel Monson. And Daniel wants to know,
Okay.
how do I improve as a teen?
Oh, I like it.
That's a big question.
Dayne, go for
Simone,
it.
you go first. Oh, me? All right, I'll go. So that's a tough one, right? I think first is be unafraid of, like what we were saying, be unafraid of writing a longish term goal down and just go far out, like without knowing anything, about him. What is that thing that's driving you? What can you see yourself, at the end of this year, right? Because the answer to that is going to be based on what it is you want in the future, right? There's no one stock answer, right? Obviously we got to work and we got to drill, but what exactly do you want for yourself at the end of the year? And that answer is going to, determine the steps you take moving towards that, right? So I think it starts with being really intentional about what it is that you want out of your game, right? Because the working part is easy, right? Like there's only so many shots we can hit in this game, right? There are only so many drills we can do. So getting out there and working and drilling is, it's simple. It's just not easy. But creating that mental imagery, that's difficult because that takes us into a fear mode, right? That takes us into but what if I don't achieve it? So I don't want to raise my bar to a 9. I'll just raise it to a 4, right? Because I can achieve that, right? So I think first off, right, be intentional on what you want and take your first instinct and shove it down the toilet and raise your bar just a little bit more, right? Just a little bit more. And then back up and start creating a daily/weekly plan on what skills you need to improve to get there, and make it, like the Simone you said in the very beginning, really important to make that attainable and achievable to grow that confidence within the week-to-week plan.
Absolutely. And I'll build from that a little bit. And also my biggest advice, because I think there are a lot of great role models out there, but Daniel, there's only one Daniel. And so carve all of the things that Dane talk about, like do it for you, like that suits you. So how can Daniel get better and to play like the best Daniel version versus, I want to play like so and so, or and again, I look at some of these kids, younger kids, and I emulate some of their shots, but I know what Simone is capable of and what Ben Johns is capable of. So I'm also pretty realistic to the things that I can do and that I can achieve in my own, my own physicality, but again, is setting goals for myself that I can achieve. So I think, again, especially with young kids, you have so many great role models to look up to, and definitely look at their shots and some of the strokes that they have, that you want to add to your game. But just, again, you can control what you can control, and be patient, because I know, having 2 children, and you know how that is, Dane. Patience
Yeah.
is definitely a virtue, and a lot of the times the kids want, they want this to happen right now. They want this tomorrow. They want, so making sure that you stay on track, and good things will happen when you put in, the effort and the work, but you're gonna have to be patient.
Right. That's so awesome. That's such a great. And if I can piggyback on that for a second, those role models that you were talking about, look beyond their strokes and their strategy and their physicality, and look at their character. Right. I think what separates you, I don't mean to be kissing the host's butt, but I mean, it's true, right? And if it wasn't true, I wouldn't say it. I think what separates you is your character, your level of character. I think that's really important as we're looking to role models, not just the players that are winning all the time, but the players that do it the right way. Especially, talking to a team, and Daniel, look at the players that you want to, implement here and there. And like Simone said, do it your way. But also look at the character that they have. I think that's even more important than any gold medal you put around your neck.
Yeah, and again, I thank you. But for me, I think, once you become a parent, because I'm sure that you heard this from yours, but my parents always said that one day you will know, and your actions, what you do, they represent you, but they also represent your family and what you want your kids to be like. So my parents were extremely hardworking people and kept us pretty high standards. So I definitely, so I think that that's, a lot of, I think the, some of the things, and we talk about with kids these days, and uh, the expectations for kids. So for Daniel, for example, focusing on, talk about how you behave on that court when you step on the court. My parents, number one thing, they did not really care if I won or lost when I was younger. but it was about how I behaved, how I carried myself on the court, how I represented myself and my family. So if I tossed the racket, oof, I better start walking home right now because I was in big trouble. If I ever gave up, giving up was never an option. I had to try everything except cheat. But it was pretty much moonballing was definitely acceptable. I was a famous moonballer when I was 12 years old because I just whatever had to happen to win. And I think, of course, one of my favorites, Winning Ugly, Brad Gilbert.
Yep.
So I think it's just, I think for kids these days is that just, it doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it has to be the best version of you. And how you want to, represent yourself and your family. So that's
yeah. And that's another goal, right, on our topic. That's another amazing goal. That's hard for everybody, right? Especially as teens, right? I want my goal during these matches is to represent, my last name, right? And I'm going to represent it, right? I'm going to have high level of character. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to fight. Like those are all very realistic, quote, attainable goals that are within your control, right? And I don't think people they don't list those as a goal, right? They don't write that down. I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to break. Like that's extremely important. It doesn't get talked about, right? With you guys at the top dominating. It's not because you're just physically obviously but you've just decided you might beat me, right? And I say this all the time, the pickleball community, you might beat me, but you're never going to break me. Like that's just never going to happen. And that should be probably one of your top goals forever, because the physical stuff's going to evolve and change, but that statement there, that should be a tattoo, right? I will never break. You might beat me. It's not because I mentally gave in.
Yep, no, for sure. So, well, thank you, Dayne. Is there anything else, Eddie? We're coming to an hour. Holy moly, we can talk all day, can't we?
Yeah, there's a lot of other questions here, but maybe it just means that we'll have to answer them.
We might need to do. So how about this, Dayne? What do you say? Is that since we challenge everybody to sit down and write down some goals and work on them. Eddie, you included, Eddie. Actually, I know, Eddie, you are a goal accomplisher because I know I've seen some photos of you back in the day, and because I think that that's something. It's not an easy thing to do. And what was it, Eddie?
What are you talking about?
You lost like what? How like you lost?
I've lost between 50 and 60 pounds. I'm not sure how much, but somewhere in that arena.
And that's a huge commitment, and it takes a lot of effort. One thing that people do not know about me is that I weigh 180 pounds when I came to America.
Wow.
And again, it took me a long time. Trust me on that. But one thing, Eddie, is that that's something that doesn't happen overnight. And I think that to me, weight loss is one of the hardest things there is. It's like getting in shape. That everybody wants that result, like miracle, like let's do it overnight. So I take training kind of the same way as you have to do something, every day. You got to put in an effort. So, but anyway, so I would say that we come back and we take a look at some of the goal setting that is going on and address some more questions. What do you say?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Hey, before you kick me off, though, I want to put you on the spot. I didn't prepare you for this. I probably should have, but it's okay because it's all for fun. I don't know if you've heard.
That's okay.
We have a little charity. We have a little charity match that we're gonna have with Dave Weinbach and myself against Ben and 19-year-old Caden. But that doubles. Ben also said that he wants to play Weinbach and I 1-on-2, Simone. What do you think the result of that match is? Like, Ben wants to play 1-on-2.
Oh,
all proceeds go.
Oh my gosh!
All proceeds go to the virus victim. So it's going to be an awesome cause. We're going to have it in August at PPA Masters Grand Slam. Ben 1-on-2 against Dave and I. Can he do it?
I don't know. Dayne, I honestly, the one I don't I'm telling you, that kid confidence is something he does not lack. Eddie, tell Dane what he's doing against you and Webby.
He's going to take us on 1 versus 2, but instead of using a paddle, he's going to be using a metal spatula.
That's so bad. Wow. You
Yeah.
can't let a 21-year-old beat you with a metal spatula. I don't care how good he is in this game.
We'll see.
I
mean,
told
arguably-
Webby, I told Webby that are you guys sure you want to do this?
Yeah, it's a no-win situation
And-
for us for sure.
Yeah.
Dane, I may
Yeah.
ask the same question to you and Dave. Are you sure you want to do this?
That's a great question. And trust me, I've been talking a bunch of junk to Ben behind the scenes. He has no chance. No chance. He's arguably, I understand he's probably top 12 in the game right now. He's reaching top 10 status. No chance. Listen, he's going to be playing with 19-year-old Caden Nemeth. That's the original bet, right? That's against Dave and I. And Caden's a good 5-0 player. That's going to be – he's losing that match too. I told him over and over that this is going to be one of the worst weeks of his life. And it'll probably – and I'm sorry because it'll probably be, affect his performance with you on the mixed court, right, at the Grand Slam in August. I'm sorry. We have to put him down a notch, Simone. So you're going to have to carry him.
Yeah. Well, let me just say good luck with that one. And I can tell you this, knowing Ben, I'm guessing that he's going for skin, just so you know.
Yeah, I had a mark. I played him at Triple Crown. I had a mark right here. Yeah. Is he going to let Caden play Simone? Will he let Caden play? Or is Caden just going to sit over on the bench and don't miss a forehand dink? Ben, come on. Is Ben going to just take over the court that much?
I mean, done. If he feels that he has to, then he will.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, he's going to be down. He's going to be down immediately. He's going to be down 8-1. So he's probably going to have to try to take over. I'm just kidding. I want to fire up Ben. I want Ben to be fired up. It's just better for the match. I want Ben to come out and try to hit us in the chest 12 times.
Ben, you ready? Ben fired up. Ben upset.
That's right. That's right. I know. We'll have to make sure I slap some come-ons in his face to rile him up a little bit. Maybe I'll jump the net and tackle him. Get his fire going a little more.
Reaction. I know. Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot to get that kid to change his reaction, his facial expressions. Oh man.
Yeah.
But anyways, well, thank you so much. I hope that everybody enjoyed, and we are looking forward to checking back with everyone and making sure that everybody is staying motivated. Number one, I think, is just making sure that everybody has something to look forward to, and that at the end of this will be better in one way or another, whatever that is that you're set your goals to be.
Right. Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast, and give you a high five. And again, I apologize for affecting Ben's performance in August when Dave and I beat him. I apologize. I apologize for that.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for having me, Simone. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And again, thanks, Eddie, for setting it all up and doing an amazing job. Otherwise, as you can tell, I wouldn't be able to do anything. So I am. I know my strengths, and technology is definitely not it.
Yeah. Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, man.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, and everybody have a good night, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, Dayne, again.
Thank you.